Good morning, Brookfield Zoo fans and animal lovers. My name's Tim. I'm one of the curators here at Brookfield Zoo, and I'm going to be hosting this episode of Bringing the Zoo to You. So today, we thought it'd be a great idea to bring you to Habitat Africa, the forest. This particular habitat and exhibit was opened in June of 2000, so it's been open for almost 21 years now. So it's been around for a while, and it's one of the favorites of our zoo guests. But it's kind of buried into this beautifully dense forest that is meant to replicate the Ituri forest, which is in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. So this habitat is going to basically demonstrate that area that a lot of special animals live in. And so we thought today, since the building is closed due to COVID, we'd give you a bit of an update of some of the animals that are in here and actually show you some of the animals on the outside which are open to view when you come to Brookfield Zoo. So let's move over here and start with this beautifully primitive animal, the dwarf crocodile. Isn't he beautiful? He's doing a great job just coming up and making sure we can get a good view of his beautiful eyes hanging above the water there. So this particular crocodile gets its name because it's one of the smallest crocodilian species. It can get up to about 5 feet, maybe 6 feet in length, and weigh about up to 70 pounds. Now that sounds like a lot, but if you compare it to its relative, the Nile crocodile, which can get up to 17 feet long and weigh over 1,600 pounds, you can see how it got its dwarf name. But nonetheless, it's still a very powerful and good hunter as a crocodilian. This particular croc spends a lot of time out of the waters. In fact, it's one of the most terrestrial crocodilians. It hunts fish and other small creatures like small birds that might come in, crabs and frogs. And although it's nocturnal, during the daytime, you might still see it as it nests in little kind of burrows that it creates inside the water. But at night, it goes out and either goes from one part of water to another body of water. And while it's doing that, it might find some food to eat. So although it's a crocodilian, it has a very slow metabolism. And usually if you see it kind of crawling on the land, it doesn't mean it's slow. If it gets threatened or if it wants to chase something down, it can run over 10 miles an hour. So they're pretty quick when they need to be. So this particular species is unfortunately threatened, like a lot of animals in Africa and across the globe, because of overhunting for bushmeat, as well as habitat deforestation and encroachment by humans. So we want to make sure that this animal has a chance to survive too, because it has a great niche in the environment. It spends time in water, of course, and you might be interested to know that it can hold its breath for over an hour. That's because reptiles like this have a very slow metabolism. And if you got a good look at its eyes, you saw that they're on the top of its head. And it's doing exactly what it would be doing now, so it can stay in the water, have its nose and its eyes above, looking for predators or making sure it doesn't become prey itself, and make sure that it can see everything that's around it. Very cool creature. We get a great chance to see it both in and out of the water here. And oh, we've got somebody coming in here from the holding area. What great timing. And
she
just
was
laying
feeling
down.
left out.
That's right, feeling left out at all. So again, these creatures are really cool. And of course, they hold on to their prey with those sharp teeth that are numerous in number. And once they grab that prey, they can subdue it to the point where they can swallow it whole. So Lynette, do we have any questions coming in about dwarf crocodiles?
Yes, so I know that visitors often say that they don't move around very much. Why would that be?
Well, like a lot of reptiles that have a very slow metabolism, they don't often catch enough food to keep themselves going. So they might catch a meal one day and then they don't catch their next meal for a week or so. So they really conserve all of their energy. They want to make sure that they can stay both comfortable in the environment they're in, but also not knowing when they're going to get the next meal. They want to kind of conserve those calories by maintaining slow and relaxed in those positions.
Now, Tim, you work with the enrichment department. So what kind of enrichment would a dwarf crocodile get?
You know, that's a great question. So our enrichment is used to draw behavior out of the animal that naturally occurs in the wild, behavior that's important to its health. So a lot of times what we'll do with an animal like this is really look at how we feed them. And so instead of presenting food on a platter, we might present food across the habitat, either on land or in water, because this animal can prey upon food in both places. So by having variety in the food that they eat and how we present it, we can make sure that the behaviors they use to hunt food and to eat food can be expressed here at Brookfield Zoo.
Are they sexually dimorphic, which means can you tell the difference between a male and a female?
It's hard because the females are a little bit smaller, but without knowing, having a relative size between a male and a female, you might not be able to tell it as easily. But again, they are different in size, but not dramatically different in size.
Do you know how long they live?
They can live a really long time. Like a lot of reptiles, especially crocodilians, they can live up to 75 years. So they can be around this planet for a long time. And of course, the sizes differ from, I mentioned that they could be up to 6 feet long, but depending on where they live and the availability of food, these animals can get a lot larger. And so they basically grow to the size that can be supported by the prey base that's in their area.
All right, let's do one more before we move on.
Okay.
How many offspring do they usually have?
Well, of course, it depends on the animal, but they can have several, up to, I think, 20 or 30, if I remember correctly. And of course, once those are hatched, the animals will just kind of go on their own. They're immediately out there trying to hunting for themselves.
All right.
All right, so let's move this way. Watch your step. It's dark inside the Aturi forest because it is very dense. And we have a very cool animal that we might get a little bit of a glimpse of, which is our African white-bellied pangolin. Now, of course, this is one of the most unique creatures in Africa and in Asia. The white-bellied tree pangolin is actually one of 8 species of penguins that live throughout Africa and Asia. And this particular animal is native to all across equatorial Africa. It is, because of its name, tree pangolin, it does spend time in the tree. In fact, it's semi-arboreal. And to do that, it's well equipped with having 5 sharp claws on each one of its appendages and a prehensile tail, which acts as an extra appendage to make sure they can be safe up there in the trees. Now, penguins are really cool for many reasons. One is they are an insectivore, so they mainly prey upon ants and termites. So they have an extremely long tongue that can be up to 27 inches long, which can be longer than their body. But they also have, from the outward appearance, a very special feature, which are those scales that they have. Those scales are made of keratin, like your fingernail, but they cover them from the tip of their nose all the way to the tip of their tail. These are used to protect the animal from threats of predation, and of course from ants and termites that don't like to be eaten, so they want to try and scare the pangolin off. When threatened, the pangolin will roll up into a tight ball. It's almost like an armor plating little cocoon that they create for themselves that will help protect them from even animals as large as lions. When they're in that ball, they can actually slide their scales back and forth, creates kind of a cutting action, which may also deter the predator. And if mom is there and she has young, the little babies roll up into little balls too, and then she puts a big ball around them to protect them until the threat is gone. So they're really cool animals. Unfortunately, they're also very threatened. This particular species is the most illegally trafficked mammal in the world. Over the last 10 years, 1 million plus animals have been poached from the wild, both in Asia and Africa, to meet the needs of the bushmeat trade. But also, unfortunately, their scales are prized in folk culture and traditional Chinese medicine as a cure. But as I told you, they're made of keratin, just like your fingernails, so there's nothing special about them. And so Brookfield Zoo has stepped up with, and was one of the first 3 organizations to come together to learn more about the pangolins and help conserve them. We've developed a consortium where we've brought animals into professional care so that we can learn about this mysterious animal, so that we can learn to better take care of them and, of course, sustain their populations to hopefully make it through this threat that's going on out in the wild. They're fantastic animals, and hopefully when you come back to visit us here at Brookfield Zoo, you'll get to see them walk around. They're actually quite agile as they spend time on the ground. They kind of root around, again, looking for spots where they can find those ants and termites that they have to eat in great numbers to maintain that pretty large body they have. They can weigh up to 15 or more pounds, and of course to support that long body of theirs and get them through all parts of the seasons. Any questions about this unique animal?
Yep. What animal are they closest related to?
That is an amazing question. I think they're mostly related. I'm trying to think. I'm sorry, it's not coming to me quite quickly. They are, of course, a mammal. I'm kind of drawing a blank on that one.
That's okay. We can put that.
We'll
in
come back
later.
there. We'll put that in the background. Yeah. So it just kind of blanked out on me.
How many pangolins does the zoo have?
We have quite a few at this point. I think we're at about 8 to 12 at this point. We've been very successful in breeding them, and all parts of the animal's life cycle are being researched by all of our scientists here at Brookfield Zoo. The more we learn about these animals, the more we can help protect them in the wild. And so we want to, each time we have another birth, we learn more about how mom raises them and what the environmental needs are for those creatures.
So this guy here, Biggie, I believe he's the only pangolin that we currently have that the public can see. Is that
That's correct, yes.
Okay.
The other animals in our population are used for the breeding population.
Yeah, so
they're off habitat, and they're doing their job by making more and more pangolins.
Yeah, so make sure you come and see Biggie.
That's right.
All right.
All right, well, let's sneak around here around the corner. I think if we're lucky, we might get a chance to get a peek at a real special mammal. Over here, let's take a look. This is the black and rufous giant elephant shrew, and let's see, take a look down the corner. Oh, he's in the corner, so you can get a good look at him over there right now. Very cool little mammal that lives again in the forest floor. This particular one, the black and rufous giant elephant shrew, is one of 17 species of shrew found only in Africa. Now, its name is a bit of a misnomer, not the first part. Black and rufous, which means kind of a reddish brown color, obviously depicts the color of their beautiful body. But they're neither an elephant nor a shrew. Obviously, the elephant part comes from that long proboscis they have that looks a lot like an elephant trunk and is used for some of the same reasons elephants use theirs. They are an insectivore, and they use their great sense of smell along the forest floor looking for things like beetles and other insects. Once they find them, they can use that proboscis to help dig them up. Then they use their long tongue to lap them up and funnel them back into their mouth. Now, so they're a very cool animal that lives in the forest. They live in large groups, usually around 30 or so, and they develop territories that help them mark out that area in undisturbed parts of the forest that help them develop a great place to find their food. Adults are average about 11 inches in length and weigh about 1.5 pounds, so they're pretty darn small. They are nocturnal, of course, because they want to avoid predation. So they're out there at night, walking along quietly. You can see they have interesting legs. Their legs and back are longer than the ones in front, which help them navigate through the dense forest floor of the forest. And this guy is giving us a great look at this amazing species. Now, of course, they'll build nests in the forest floor out of leaf litter. But of course, if they have a nice burrow that might be in a hollowed out log like you see this one using right now, of course they'll use that because it's great protection for them. Just a really cool creature.
So what types of enrichment would you provide for a small mammal like this?
Well, again, we look at their senses and what they do. So this animal spends a majority of its time at night hunting for food. So if we can spread that food out, or have a way to deposit that food into the habitat, they can go out there and use their great sense of smell to find it. Likewise, we can provide leaf litter and other nesting material so that they can make its own nest. That way we can bring that behavior out of the animal. We provide, of course, you see the logs and other places that it can choose where it wants to live and where it might want to rest for the day. So that way the environment, it gives them all the things they need to bring out all the wonderful behavior that is known for this animal.
Well, he decided to go forage inside where we can't see him now.
Of course.
How many elephant shrews are here at the zoo?
I don't have an exact number. I know we have a pair here, and we've had some really good breeding success with this animal in the past, and hopefully look forward to that because they're really cute little young.
They are, yes. Are there other types of elephant shrews?
There's 17 species in total, so they're quite abundant, and have, of course, they fit the niche that they live in. So they might be different colorations and slightly different sizes, just to make sure that they they create the balance in nature that they find themselves in. Aren't they cute?
I just love how he's running all over the place.
Well, you're doing exactly what he's supposed to do, looking for food right now, and we've got a nice little habitat for him to hunt around, and he's just an amazing creature.
All right, where are we off to next, Tim?
How about we go see a really big mammal?
Yes.
Similar in color, but a lot larger in size. We're gonna have to go outside for that, so come on, follow me back this way. You might notice we're coming through the Okapi Research Center. This is the part of the immersion experience that we do here at Brookfield Zoo to get people a chance to see more about the science behind taking care of animals, both here at Brookfield Zoo, but also out in the wild. So this is the way we acquire knowledge so we can better take care of these creatures and hopefully that they live long lives out in the wild and here under professional care. All right, it's getting a little bit brighter here as we come out of the thick forest. Watch your step through the door. And we can see we've got some guests with us today, and of course we've got one of these beautiful Okapi. That was the next creature I wanted to tell you about. Now, Brookfield Zoo has got a long history caring for Okapi. We have been doing so since 1955. And we actually had our first of dozens of calves born in 1959. Most of the calves in North America actually came from the reproductive success we've had here at Brookfield Zoo. So Okapi are really cool creatures. You can see that the beautiful coloration they have, that velvety coat, and they have a long neck and the stripes. So they're also known as the forest giraffe or the forest zebra. They're more closely related to the giraffe than a zebra, though. The stripes just are a way to produce some camouflage for them. These guys are native to of course, the Northeast Democratic Republic of the Congo in Central Africa. And they inhabit really dense forests. The Ituri forest in the DRC is about 2/3 the size of Illinois, so it's a pretty big area. Like the giraffe, the Okapi is a herbivore. It feeds on leaves and shoots on trees. It'll even eat grasses and ferns and fruits and fungi that it can find, using its 17 to 18 inch long tongue, which again it shares with the giraffe. Those tongues are very well adapted at pulling off specific leaves from a tree, or reaching down and pulling out exactly what they want and drawing it back in their mouth. And if you have an 18 inch long tongue, it's a great way to groom yourself too. They can actually groom their eyes and ears with their tongue. And you could, when I'm talking about ears, they have a set of ears.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
This animal is living in a forest, and it uses its highly tuned sense of hearing to pick up on any predators that might be out there. Their ears can actually rotate, and you can actually tell what they're listening to by watching them and which way their ears are facing. So it's a tall animal. It's not as tall as a giraffe that can reach 16 or more feet. But this animal at the shoulder stands about 5 feet tall. And its body is about 8 feet in length. The smaller animals of this particular species are a little over 400 pounds, but the larger males can be up to 750 pounds. So they're a pretty big mammal. They spend most of their time active at night, but they're also known to be a little bit active just around the sunset and sundown, out there trying to get a little more food in throughout the time. They're a very solitary and very secretive animal, and they only come together when they're reproducing. And like a lot of animals in the forest, they are also threatened. And one of the major threats, again, is habitat loss. It seems to be a theme we have here. People, unfortunately, are expanding their claim on lands that used to be for animals like the Okapi. And so when they're logging or mining, or even setting up a settlement, these animals can become unfortunately impacted negatively by it. They're hunted for bushmeat as well, and for their coats, and they are oftentimes in the way of illegal mining and just are taken out as a result of that. But they're an amazing animal. They don't make much noise at all, but really it's all about looking at them and seeing how great they are. And so we're really fortunate to be one of the experts and leaders in Okapi care, and we are happy that we can have them out as the weather gets warmer, so that folks can come here to Habitat Africa in the forest to take a look at them and enjoy the majestic nature of this particular very unique animal.
So Tim, what makes their coat so shiny?
Oils. Very oily coated. Actually, if you rub your hand across it, you actually get the kind of a smooth sensation about it. That helps protect them. They live in a rainforest. And so oil is a great way to keep yourself dry. A lot of animals use that technique. They secrete an oil that helps the water kind of just bead off of them to help keep them cool, warmer as it rains in the areas that they live in.
It's hard to tell from here, but do you want to tell everybody what color their tongue is?
It's black, isn't it? It's about as black.
Yeah, it's like a purple.
Black
like
is purple, yeah,
purple,
exactly.
Yeah.
And don't ask me why it's that color, because I don't know.
Oh, I know why.
You do?
Yeah.
Tell me, then you'll let me know.
It's because when they're browsing, they have their tongue out so much that they don't get sunburned.
That makes perfect sense.
Same thing with the giraffes. See, the things I learned doing all these, bringing the zoos to you.
That's right. Very educational, and hopefully for the folks at home too. Any questions from the public?
I think actually you covered everything while you were
We've been talking about enrichment, of course, and one of the things we do right now, there's a nice green hay ball, we call them, for the animal to help get them up, get the food up in the trees like they do. They're pulling leaves off of branches as well. But we present that food in all different ways, again, to challenge them. Their tongue is very, has a lot of dexterity to it. And so we want to make sure we can present food to allow them to use that. Not only do they have to use the physical nature to try and get the food out of challenging places in trees and in the enrichment we provide, but also it gives a cognitive challenge. We keep their minds engaged and help them to stay attached. Oh, we're getting a beautiful view here. You might notice the ossicones on top of their head. Just like giraffe, they're not horns, they're not antlers. They're just these kind of protrusions on top of their head. That can be used during ritual combat between males and to help protect them if they were to run into a predator out there.
And like giraffes, do okapi all have ossicones?
I believe they do. What? Oh, is it just the male that does? That's right. Just like the giraffe, they have. Because that, of course, we talked about that. That's for ritual combat, so it makes sense that the males would only have that extra appendage to help them protect themselves.
Yeah, females have I think little tiny
they're little nubs,
yeah.
Aren't they? But they're not as large for sure.
No, not as large. And I could be wrong too. Do we trim their hooves?
We do, when they need to be. And so this animal spends a lot of time walking around, so that naturally trims us. But if they are on softer ground for a longer period of time, they might need a little bit of help. So it's a very specialized type of pedicure, if we use the human term for that, where we can use files and other tools to kind of bring it down to the shape it needs. It's very important to do that, like it is to take care of our own selves, to make sure they don't become overgrown, which can affect their gait and ultimately not be good for their overall health.
Calvin says that females have hair whorls. That's I think what I was thinking of.
It's still a protrusion, but not the
pay much attention or enough attention.
The bony
to the
protrusion,
females.
right?
I knew they had something up there. Let me see. I think we might be. Oh, here. What's their favorite snack?
Favorite snack? Well, we do a lot of training with these animals as well to help get some wonderful behavior that allows us to take better care of them, like training them to go onto a scale for weight or allowing us to do work on their hooves. So they will eat lots of things like sweet potato and other types of vegetation that are not necessarily in the diet they'd get in the wild, but perfectly healthy for them, providing some extra nutrients. And so we can use these kind of special treats to help them either come onto a scale for the weights that we give them, or to do other specialized types of training that, again, help us take better care of them.
Tim, what's your favorite snack?
My favorite snack, I'm with the majority of the crowd, I love Reese's cups.
That's good. That's good. I like salt and vinegar potato chips.
Oh, not too bad. You're on the savory side of snacks.
I am savory. Let's see. Someone says, is that a warthog in the fenced area behind the okapi?
That's a really good guess, but we actually have our Red River hogs back there. So not only are the okapi out and visible right now at Brookfield Zoo, but you can see our Red River hogs, which is an amazing species from the pig family. They have just that beautiful red coloration. The tufted ears that they have are just unique to that particular animal. But like all pigs, they spend a lot of time with that great sense of smell trying to find food underground. And when they find it, they use that snout of theirs to actually root it out and dig it out. And just behind the Okapi, you might see the yellow-flanked duiker, which is
Yellow-backed.
Yellow-backed diker. We have a
That's okay.
red-flanked diker and yellow-backed diker. The yellow-backed diker
He's got a
is
stripe.
another special species that lives in the forest that the Okapi also live in. And actually, it's the most well-distributed of the diker species. There's quite a few diker species. So come out and see these guys too. It's a beautiful sunny day, and we'd love to have you out here. And the buildings will start to open up slowly, so keep an eye at czs.org. As the COVID restrictions come down, we're going to make sure that we can start opening up buildings and make sure you can come in to see not only the Okapi on the outside, but all the wonderful creatures on the inside as well. It's been a pleasure hosting this episode for you. I hope you enjoyed it, and we look forward to the next Bringing the Zoo to You. Have a great day.